I'm just here because I miss recording. That's pretty much my intro right there. This video is job searching as a Gen Z male. The cycle repeats itself. No one will hire me. DBDR. I haven't watched him in a while, but this one caught my attention because the job search is crazy right now. So I can only imagine for him it's probably even worse. So I'm gonna get into the video, and I just want to do honestly, I want to do more like life introspective type videos like this. So I don't know about the music, man. I'm sorry if you're here for the music. It might kind of be slow for a lot of that, but let's get into it.
All right, today want to talk about, basically, I'm sitting here right now just recording this. There's basically like this mall. It's like, well, kind of a mall, like a strip mall type of place where there's actual stores. It's about like 40 minutes away. It's the only place I can really go to like, explore. Like I've pretty much been doing exploring this past month, and I'm looking at these two homeless dudes, that are at this McDonald's and just thinking like, holy fuck, it's over. But
You look at two homeless dudes and say, "Holy fuck, it's over." Like,
anyway,
of course it's over
what I
for
wanted to
them.
talk
They're
about
homeless, but
was
I mean,
the
if you
whole
got the
job
drive to get
searching
out of
thing.
that situation, some
This
people do it.
depressing, frustrating cycle that has been repeating itself. And even my dad warned me about coming down here. He's like, kid, you're not going to be able to find a job down here because all these fucking people don't want to work. They're all on government assistance. There's all fucking old retired people here.
So what does he do?
And, I keep asking myself, like, did I fucking make a mistake by coming here? I don't even know. Like, I'm at a point where I just don't even know what to do anymore. I'm like,
Probably if you left your old job and now you can't find a job, like you can't find nothing, or you're not searching properly, you might have made a mistake.
beyond lost. Like,
Right now it's hard to find a different job. I before like my current job, I had recruiters in my inbox just sending me hella jobs, work from home. Now they want you back in the office, and it's not looking good. Like not that many recruiters are in my inbox like it used to be. At least the recruiters now, they seem like fake, whole bunch of Indian recruiters, and like yeah, no.
with just fucking everything. And I've never felt like so, first off, unmotivated, because like I do want a job. It's just like so exhausting, just going on interviews, because I feel like, I swear to God, like people call me crazy for saying like, oh, if you're a man and you're not good looking, chances are you're not going to get a job. I really believe that, because I feel like,
That's not 100% true, but I'm assuming it probably factors in like a little bit. Like if the recruiter likes looking at you, you might get the job just off of the fact that like you're not like, because what a job is when they interview, they're looking for like personality, and like they looking to see that you're a team member and they could get along with you for real. That's really what it is. And if they like looking at you, that might be a plus for you to get the job, even though that shouldn't be.
these people,
Oh, I'm gonna have to cut this. Go back like I never left. Let's
like
keep going.
whenever I go on interviews, like the first second they look at me, they already like made a decision. I feel like like there's already other people lined up. They just will never pick me. And I already have a whole, couple videos on my whole job experience.
Some companies are like that though. Like they really already have a decision. They're just doing like extra interviews just because. For what reason, I don't know. But like,
But it's kind of funny too. What I really do want to say is, when I was working, when I finally got hired around, I think it was this time, around like August of last year, I got hired. And of course I was excited, just like have something to do, get out the house and all that shit. But that whole time that I was working, guys, my mom, she always would say like, the importance of jobs and all that stuff. And even in high school, like she would drive me around to like pretty much, oh my God, every fucking store you can imagine. They wouldn't hire me, and she thought I was lying. She was like, oh, there's no way they're not hiring.
she said like this is more depressing because like the more you get rejected, the more like
You
depressed
just
you can
walk in
become.
and, I want to watch you actually ask and apply and all that stuff. And she went in and saw for herself. I even remember before I got the job I did work last year, my parents were having like a phone call. They're like, why is no one, I like overheard them. They're like, why is no one hiring our son? How is it possible that our son's not getting a job? Why is he not getting a job? I remember my dad saying that shit. Cause, like I said, I used to live in the city. I lived in a highly populated area with opportunities, and it just scares the fuck out of me how if it was over there, it never began here, you know. But yeah, they were saying that like, how is our son not getting a job? Why are people not hiring him? What's going on? All that stuff. And I can't even believe too, like how
As a parent, I'd probably be thinking the same thing. Like, damn, my son can't get a job or something. Like, he can't. Like, what's going on? Like, you feel me? But at the same time, it's crazy because there's so many people who can just like their parents can just like fit them into a job. And unfortunately for me, like I didn't have that. I had to get everything on my own. You feel me? Well, not on my own for real, but like it's like the connections or the jobs I got off my own merit for the most part, or like someone from another job was able to advocate for me. That happened for me like once in my life for real, and that was like a surreal experience because like, damn, you really like they really said that about me. Like I'm good. Like, but yeah, I don't know.
how easy boomers had it when it came to just
Money
jobs in general. I mean,
or
I'll
money in
never forget
general.
this one comment someone left about a year ago. Basically, this dude said, he's like, my grandfather, he bagged groceries at a grocery store, and that was what he did for a living. And he was able to buy a house for 15 grand and have 4 kids and retire. And I swear to God, like, you are so screwed when it comes to just like, first off, like just minimum wage jobs that the average person, because even like, let's say, looks aside, all that stuff, um, your IQ, which is also determined by your parents and your genetics, plays such a big role in like what you can actually get as a job. Like the job I used to work, guys, like it was
It
all,
does.
well, not all, but mostly like disabled. Like the older people were there for
It's
years.
a lot of things. It is where you're from, like where you are. Some areas have jobs, some areas just don't have. You're not really gonna find jobs like that. You gotta know someone to know someone, or like some places are really just small towns. Like everything's interconnected. So like if you're not from there, it's gonna be difficult. You gotta build some connections or something. So
Years because that's all they know. That's all they can ever know. I worked with a lot of like mentally ill, disabled people who just nobody want. I worked with the people that nobody wanted. Society doesn't want, basically. Like there was a reason why my job hired me, and I worked on the same fucking day. Like I remember that shit. I worked on the same day. He's like, "Well, can you start now?" I'm like, I guess." Like, um, but those types of jobs. I mean, my job like overall wasn't terrible. Like it was good at the start, but it just like slowly got worse. But it wasn't the worst thing in the world. Like that's why I was like so hesitant to move, because I kept thinking to myself like, listen, I'm never gonna get another job besides this one. And of course the copers are gonna rush in, bro, shoot for your dreams, aim high, go for the best jobs out there. And what I was gonna say was basically during the whole time up until even fucking now, my mom was basically, she would always say like, oh, you need a government job because once you get a government job, you're secure, they got you. And my mom every fucking day, guys, was applying to maybe, I don't know, 5-10 jobs a day, government jobs. And it was like I would get emails, like just fucking spam emails. Oh, thank you for applying to this position, this human resources position, this whatever the fuck it was. And it would just blow up every day. I never even cared about them because no one ever wrote me back. I only had like 2 interviews, and they just ghosted me. And think about how fucking brutal this is, right? My mom's applying me to all these. She tried everything. She tried lying on my resume. She tried all this shit, and no one fucking wanted me. Out of all those fucking hundreds, and I mean hundreds, guys. My mom, she didn't give up. She took Meeks's advice, because I mean, this is fucking ironic. This is like my mom's whole. She's such like a high. Like we're too opposite, me and my mom. She's such like a high energy, high like dopamine fucking person to where it's like she's almost on fucking drugs. You know, I've come across a lot of people like this. Maybe they are on drugs, I don't fucking know, but they're just so unnaturally happy that it comes across as like fake, and you're like, how the fuck can you live like that? Like, how's that possible? How are you not miserable all the time? You know what I mean?
Because people are different. Nigga, what? Like, what? Because people are different. It's so simple.
But basically, yeah, my mom, she was applying me to jobs the whole time, every single day, and no one fucking gave a
Just
shit. And
because
I'm
you're
like,
sad
okay,
and
well,
depressed
if I
don't mean
can't
your
get a
mom
fucking
gotta
government
be sad
job,
and depressed.
what do I
Even if
even have, you know,
she's in
as a
a,
job? What,
her situation
McDonald's,
ain't the
you know, all
best.
these garbage ass jobs. They didn't even fucking want me, you know? Um, it's absolutely, like, just beyond brutal. And I even remember, so basically, you know, as I was leaving, this was like maybe what, almost last month now. The day before I left, I already like kind of talked about it a little bit, but you know, when I got there to get all my stuff, get my phone charger, all this shit, and you know, I noticed they basically fucking replaced me instantly. Like, oh my god, it was just, and the fucking kid, I still can't get over this shit. How fucking crazy it was, you know. And I even told my mom this shit. I'm like, the fucking kid looked exactly like me, and I'm like, they just hired a clone, and oh,
That's their job though. Like, I mean, if you work at a company, you know the recruiters are working around the clock. If someone leave, they're gonna fill your position. You feel me? Every job's gonna do that. It don't matter if your job is a regular job or is high up there, even if you like senior, whatever, or manager, whatever. You leave is more likely they're gonna fill your shit fast, especially if you're a manager. Fuck out of there, they're gonna fill that position. Like they need someone to take it over. So they're if you leave on like right there, they're gonna be looking for someone, you know, there and try and fill that position fast because, you know, otherwise the job responsibilities for that position end up falling on someone else who's not getting more than likely not getting paid more to do the extra job responsibilities. So of course they're gonna try and hire someone, or they're gonna talk to the HR to get someone to fill that position so they don't have to do that unnecessary extra work. You know
yo,
what I mean?
the fucking cope that came out of my mom's mouth, she goes, your boss
It's
knew
just
you were a good
coincidence that
worker,
he happens
so
to
he
look
wanted to
exactly
hire
like you.
somebody that looked exactly like you because he knows that that person's gonna be as good as you. And I'm like, oh my
That's some
god,
crazy
what
cope.
a fucking
That
load
is
of
cope.
bullshit.
But the thing is, that's a positive mindset. You feel me? At least she's coming at it from like they liked you so much that they looked for someone like you. And I mean, if you think about it, she was trying to make you feel better. And what are parents supposed to do? I mean, like, she's supposed to make you feel worse. Like, come on, you would have felt like shit if she said something else.
It's just, I honestly, I think it's the biggest coincidence of the fucking
But at
planet.
least you could
Like,
laugh
just
at
it
it. You
just
feel
so
me? At
happened the
least she
day I left.
made you
And this
laugh
is the thing. I don't know if I
because
said
you're
this, but
looking
I
at it
didn't.
like,
I
what the
technically
fuck?
didn't give my 2 weeks. I gave like a reverse 2 weeks. Like, I took off for 2 weeks, and my home life was so shit. My fucking mental state was so goddamn bad because of my fucking mother just gaslighting me and telling me you need to be put on pills right fucking now. I'm not dealing with you being depressed anymore, and all that stuff that just drove me insane to the point of leaving. And I'm like, listen guys, like, I'm not coming back. And the second, you know, when I texted them, yeah, just replaced instantly. And you know, this woman, basically, you know, my manager I've had for about a few months. That's another thing that pissed me off about my job. They basically, they wanted me to be the assistant manager, and they ended up hiring. So basically, we've been through like what, 2 of them now, 3 of them, and they just never even like brought it up ever again. Like, they hired some spurgy kid who sounded like the Polar Express bully, you know, the kid with glasses. And he would always, oh my god, it was so annoying during Christmas time. He'd be like, hey man, can you help me, man? Hey man, how's it going, man? Can you help me? He just talks so fast, and just, oh my god. And he didn't know what he was doing. He had no knowledge, and it didn't even make any sense to me. I mean, now it kind of does, because they're thinking like, oh, you know, if he's willing to work like shit, like, you know, really, really hard for fucking schmeckles and pennies, let's just hire some random dude and pay him more, because he's not gonna leave us. Ha 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 ha. He's not gonna leave us. He's working for pennies. He's working 12 hours a day, sometimes 14 hours a day. Let's just, you know, hire someone else. And that's where I fucked up real bad. You know, just thinking like, oh, this is my life now, I gotta give it my all. Then these fucking people walk all over you, and you're fucked now. You know. But if I was a woman, I could be like, what, selling pictures of my feet on OnlyFans, Instead, I had to work in a fucking warehouse, which I didn't really even do most of the time after, like, you know, Christmas time. But basically, anyway, so I was gonna say, this woman who was my manager, and this is the thing too, I'll never get over this or forget this shit too. The only reason why she was working, guys, was because she was bored. She was bored of being a stay-at-home mother. I don't exactly know what her
Some people do that. They get bored, and they don't necessarily need to work because they have someone who can take care of them. But like some people be bored, and even older people. Some older people don't even have to work, or they're retired and they don't necessarily need to work, but they take on a part-time job just because they want to be outside or they want to be around people, you know. Some people, you know, you'll get depressed just like not being around anyone, you feel me? Especially if they don't have a partner, like you're gonna get a part-time job because you want to be around someone. You don't want to just be in your home. After a while, you're gonna get tired of that. So you're gonna want to be outside, and you don't want to just take vacations every 3 weeks to go somewhere new.
husband did for a living. I think he was like a
So
psychologist of
make
some
more
sort,
money and meet
making
new
like
people.
200
You
grand a
know,
year, and
there's
she
not
would
much
always be
downside,
bragging about,
I
oh, my
guess.
husband's rich,
And if you're only
my
doing
husband's
part-time,
rich,
it's
and
not that
you
much
know,
work.
over and over again. It got so annoying. Like, she always had an attitude. I mean, one day she
I don't see myself quitting a job. You feel me? If I have a job where I can work from home, man, I'm working till I'm 80. I'm never quitting. Like you're gonna have to let me go and give me some compensation package. And that's how I'm feeling about even my job right now. Like as long as this shit stays remote, and if it could stay remote well into the future, I'm staying put unless I find another remote job that's even better. But like nigga, I'm working from home. I'm working till I'm 80. I'm never retiring. Fuck out of here. And they have unlimited PTO. So it's like if I want to take a vacation, I can. I can. So, feel me?
finally, like, you know, opened up to me, I guess. Like, she wasn't that annoying anymore. But, you know, she would always just be, always have an attitude with everybody. And the reason why she was working, like, she would say this all the time. She'd be like, I have a nanny at home who's taking care of my kid, and honestly, I just got bored of the stay-at-home mom life, and you know, just all that stuff. And so she had a nanny at
She was probably saying that, but there might have been more to it. I'm not gonna lie. People just be they spewing whatever nonsense that they can. It could have been cope. You feel me? Like
home while she was working because she was bored, and she'd always like make jokes like, I can quit and go home to my, you know, my husband, haha. And it's like, I mean,
she's saying that because it makes her feel superior over everyone else in there. Even though she's probably not gonna quit, or he probably told her like you should get a side job and bring in some more money. Like
you know, the average person probably wouldn't even process these things in their head. They'd probably be like, okay, what? Like, I don't understand how people don't think about shit like this. Like, whenever people say things and do things, they don't, like, you know, just think about it. It just goes over their fucking head, and they don't tell anyone about it. Like, they just think it's normal. Like, I just don't understand that at all. Same what I'm about to say right now. So basically, you know, as I was leaving, she was giving me like this talk. I was basically saying what I'm saying, like, shit, I'm scared I'm not gonna get a job. You know, where I go, like, because it's down south, the middle of fucking nowhere. And basically her advice, she was like, you should be a bartender, and, you know, you'll make so many tips. I was able to pay off my whole college with bartending tips. And I told her, I was like, okay, well, because I mean, bartending,
I'm
I'm
not
not
a
even gonna
woman,
lie, like, I know this is like the worst shit in the world for ugly men.
but
Like,
not a girl.
I wanted to make a video too, like, jobs you just should never do.
Yeah, you gotta be. If you bartending, you gotta be fine. Like whether you a girl or a guy, like that's the only way you gonna get paid for real.
As a sub 5 male. But I mean, bartending kind of seems interesting to me. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Cause you're
I
gonna
don't know
meet a
why. It
lot of
just seems
people,
interesting.
you know,
But
connections and
I
shit
already
like
know,
that.
like, it would just wouldn't work out. I'd probably get like no tips. Probably wouldn't even get hired. That's the funny thing. She goes, like I said, oh, maybe I could be a bartender. She goes, oh no, they wouldn't hire you. And I'm like, why? She's like, oh, you need to have experience and all this and that. And I was like, how'd you get experience? You want to know what comes out of her fucking mouth? She goes, oh, my mom owned a bar. You know, she owned a bar.
Yeah, so that's how she got. But really, there's a certificate that you're supposed to get for bartending, I believe. So like, or like a class that you're supposed to take, something like that. You can't just get the job unless you know someone. Then you could probably just get the job like that.
And I'm like, oh my God, like, really? Do you realize like the whole hypocrisy with that whole statement? Oh, you need experience. But my mom owned a bar. That's how I got experience. She owned like some pub that people would go to or something. Yeah, and just hired her daughter. And it's like, that's like, honestly, I guess like the equivalent to that would be like if you're Bill Gates's son, and I don't even know if he has a son, but let's say you're
It's
Bill
not the
Gates's son,
equivalent.
and some guy goes, I wanna,
That's a whole different thing if you're a billionaire's son. Whole different ballgame. But I understand the parallel you're trying to draw.
I don't know, something stupid. I want to own a Ferrari, and Bill Gates' son says, "Oh, you can't ever own one. It's like $2 billion." And then they say, "Oh, well, how do you have one?" "Oh, my dad's rich." It's like, saying shit like that. But basically, I told her, I'm like, yeah, it's just that probably wouldn't be the best anyway. She's like, "Oh, be a waiter. Trust me, the tips." And I tried to explain to her, I'm like, listen, because she, 10 years ago, she was like, 20 years old. She has blonde hair. I don't know what she looked like at 20, but chances are, if you're a blonde white girl, guys are gonna, want attention from you. And I tried explaining to her, I'm like, listen, I'm not blonde. I'm not a woman. I'm not gonna get anything in tips. And she tried explaining to me how like, oh, it doesn't matter. People tip. They have to tip a certain percentage and all that stuff. But it's like if you get people like my dad doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't tip shit. But I basically tried saying, I'm like, you're telling me that you didn't have that one extremely old dude that thought, he was in his fucking prime, that was watching too much Rich Cooper, bought his tactical soap at fucking 65 years old, trying to hit on you, that gave you $100 tip out of his fucking retirement money. I'm like, you're telling me that's never happened? She was like, oh, well, like, she started stuttering. She's like, well, but that's different though. Like, that's different. I'm like, how is it different? It's like, tell me how that's different. I mean, I'll tell you this, being a bartender or a waitress as a female, that's like the best fucking job you can have, just for that reason. These dudes who just think, oh, I got a shot. And, they give like a massive tip, especially if you're pretty, like, if you're good looking in a waitress, just in general, you're going to get like probably more tips than on average. But yeah, she was just telling me all this normie advice, and I was just listening, and she basically was like, you need to be a waitress because you'll be with other broke college students that they need friends. And she was basically like explaining like how important it is to meet friends, and how I really need to be a waitress to meet people and smoke weed with them and all that shit. I'm like, weed, in general, weed, I'll never smoke weed. Like, I've tried it before, when I turned 21, and a couple times. It didn't do shit. I despise that drug. I just don't like it. It's not for me. Never will be for me. But yeah, just her saying that, I'm just like, just like, whatever. It is what it is. I'm probably not going to do any of that shit. But, I mean, yeah, it's... I don't know. It just sucks, the whole job searching thing. I mean, even now, I've applied to a couple jobs, and, I noticed too, guys, like here, I don't know what the fuck it is. Like, McDonald's, Burger Slop, Wendy's, Kentucky Fried Shit Fart, all those, like, fucking food chains, guys, are just, like, it's just ran by old people. I when I walk in these places, just like, because like I said, I've been exploring.
I've never seen a Chick-fil-A with old people. But it's probably just the area you're in. You got old people there. Unfortunately, there's no young people over by you.
Exploring and shit, and just looking around
You just gotta
Walmart,
leave,
all these
bro.
places, like, I don't see
I don't know
young
where you
people.
gonna live,
These
bro.
are young people jobs. And I'm looking at these fucking boomers operating, flipping the burgers. And I'm like, are these people, like, stuck here or something? Like, what the fuck? It's just gonna be me one day, and I'm gonna be like, God, what a fucking life, man. What a life. Imagine this shit working at... That even reminds me, there's this... I forgot, I think it was a Burger King employee. It was this old disabled man who had been working at Burger King for, I don't know, I think like an extreme amount of years, like 40 plus years, I think. And all they did was like give him a pat on the back. Like they just didn't even. They had like a whole news article about him, and they didn't give him shit. You know, it was the
But
most
yeah,
brutal thing. I gotta
I
find it
remember
again.
that.
It was just so
They gave him like
painful to
Snickers
watch.
or something
You
or
know,
some
this guy,
candy
he
and
spent
like a
his
little
whole
plaque.
life obviously never married, obviously, you know, none of that shit. And or maybe he was, I don't know, but we just assume, you know, if you're working at Burger King.
I remember my old job, I think for like 20 or 30 years, you got like a gold plaque. I'm not sure if it was fully gold or what it was made out of. It was a good, it looked like a good metal. I'm not gonna lie, maybe titanium. But like still, 30 years, and all I get is a little titanium plaque with my name on it saying 30 years. Like, for real. Like, if you gave me an extra check, that would be, I would appreciate that more.
You know, all that shit. You're what
Like
in
a
your
little bonus
60s?
or something. Like,
I don't know.
that's what
I don't
companies
think he
should
had
do.
kids or a wife.
Should do, but I
But
guess they
I mean, if
can't
he
do that
didn't,
for
it's even more
everyone.
brutal.
So,
But anyway, um, yeah, that's all I wanted to say for
or they
now.
probably could, and they just don't care. Well,
The whole job searching thing. Um, I don't know. At least I hope I get something because I just don't like sitting inside at all.
exactly, which is why old people be getting part-time jobs and stuff, or some people get jobs even though they don't even need to because they want to be outside or they want to be around people or they want to meet new people. Honestly, a job is a place where you can meet new people. And some people want to meet new people. Me, myself, I look at a job as a check. I'm not here to really make friends. If someone is cool, that's cool. But like personally, I really could care less about that aspect of a job. As long as y'all not annoying. That's all I ask for. Um, but yeah, no, the job search is terrible right now. I see it myself, but I'm not at the same time I'm like casually looking. So it's like I but yeah, no, it's a depressing video somewhat, but it's also interesting because you get to see like an angle from someone who's like, I don't know, at the at the bottom right now. I mean, if you're at the bottom, ain't nowhere else to go but up, right? Or can it get worse? I don't know.